One of the world leaders in the Italian culinary art known as Neapolitan pizza has teamed up with Famoso Neapolitan Pizzeria for a very special evening. Let's explore some of these Italian traditions with a presentation by Roberto Caporuscio.
One thing that's really important, and this is a great thank you, Fred, because in the beginning when we are here, it was hard to find ingredients, and personal Fred helped us to everybody to bring these ingredients. One thing is really, really important is the flour, and they come from, it's totally different. I guess Fred can explain a little bit about that. I think it's the tomato, it's really important, he can explain too, because it's and the oven, it's really, really important. It's come from Naples or come from Italy. But the really important thing is the pizza maker, the pizzaiolo. Can it be or from Naples or training from somebody from Naples. So they did a very good job here to do that.
Roberto's just going to demonstrate for you the dough making process by hand. So he's just melting some fresh yeast into the water. First thing that they always do is they use fresh baker's yeast. They don't use a dehydrated yeast like you might see in the stores. And they just want to make sure that's melted in. One of the keys to making really good Neapolitan pizza is to using very little yeast, to let the dough really rise naturally. You probably noticed how soft and light the dough is, and a lot of that is because the flour that they use, which is sourced from a mill in Naples called Caputo, so it's engineered specifically designed to work in an oven like this at very high temperature. It's designed to stay very soft. So now after he mixed a little dough in to absorb the water, he put salt inside. So far just water, yeast, salt, and flour. That's the entire recipe. Like Justin said before, it's basically simple, but it's complicated. It's simple because we're using very few ingredients. It's complicated only because there's a certain amount of training that has to go on. But anybody can get the training, anyone can eventually do this, there's no question. So Roberto's just kneading the dough a little bit now. This kind of constant folding over to make sure the water gets absorbed all the way through the flour is very important. This flour actually has a much higher water absorption point than most other flours in Canadian and US flours. A, the way it's milled is differently. B, they search the entire world. It's a mill that's been there 100 years. So they have sourcing throughout the entire world to find at every time where's the very highest quality wheat, and they buy only that. It's also all natural. There's no other processes. All this is ground wheat. But if you buy the very, very best worldwide, and you mill slowly, and you make this super fine flour, you can end up with an all-natural product that, again, gives that result in the dough.
After 20 minutes, you can make almost ready. You let it relax for 1 hour, and after that, you cut in the balls. If you are making home, my recommendation, because you don't have an oven look like this one home, it makes the dough a little more thick. And the recipe can be changed a little because you put some sugar. Because this is a natural flour. Nothing's inside there, just wheat. So if you make an oven at the home, you can see the white, little bit white, so put some sugar in the recipe and make it a little more thick. That is my recommendation if you want to cook this at home. But no, he comes famoso, he's make good pizza. They make good pizza.
Because there's very little yeast, it needs a long leavening time, and you want to do that outside of refrigeration. So again, leads to the lightness of it and the digestibility. So Roberto will make his dough. Normally he'd let this sit probably for an hour before he cuts it. And once he makes these dough balls, he would let them sit out for probably 8 or 10 hours. Then he'd refrigerate overnight and pull it out at least a few hours before he uses it the next day so that it can come up to temperature. Roberto's movement is specifically designed not to pull dough into the crust, or the cornicione as they call it in Italy, but to get the air there so that when it goes into a very hot oven, you'll see the rise of the crust. And you guys are going to experience this when you eat the pizza. The crust, notice it's not dough in there, it's actually a lot of air inside there. And that's what this technique is designed for. So he just gently, as you see, a couple flips over and it's stretched out basically right away. The dough opens up very easily.
So that is another part very important, is a San Marzano area tomato. You can call plum tomato from Naples. It's big confusion, and Fred can help with that.
So the product that's used as tomato is simply a whole peeled tomato packed in a relatively heavy juice from Naples, Italy. It's the place that peeled tomatoes first were being produced before California and other markets started picking up on it. So it's very traditional to that area. And all they do is blanch it, take the peel off, put it in a can, sterilize it, that's it. And so you get this really wonderful natural tomato flavor. And the tomato here is not cooked at all. All they do is put it through a food mill so that it just gets crushed, and that's it. And that's why you have this really great natural flavor.
So this is the margarita.
If you're hungry for authentic Neapolitan pizza, you know where to go. Visit Famoso Neapolitan Pizzeria on the corner of Commercial Drive and Kitchener Street in Vancouver.